Blackstone Audio presents The 100-Foot Journey, a novel by Richard C. Morais. This book is read by Neil Shaw. For Katie and Susan. Part 1. Mumbai. Chapter 1. I, Hassan Haji, was born, the second of 6 children, above my grandfather's restaurant on the Nepean Sea Road in what was then called West Bombay, 2 decades before the great city was renamed Mumbai. I suspect my destiny was written from the very start, for my first sensation of life was the smell of machli ka salan, a spicy fish curry rising through the floorboards to the cot in my parents' room above the restaurant. To this day I can recall the sensation of those cot bars pressed up coldly against my toddler's face, my nose poked out as far as possible in searching the air for that aromatic packet of cardamom, fish heads, and palm oil, which, even at that young age, somehow suggested there were unfathomable riches to be discovered and savored in the free world beyond. But let me start at the beginning. In 1934, my grandfather arrived in Bombay from Gujarat, a young man riding to the great city on the roof of a steam engine. These days in India, many up-and-coming families have miraculously discovered noble backgrounds, famous relatives who worked with Mahatma Gandhi in the early days in South Africa. But I have no such genteel heritage. We were poor Muslims, subsistence farmers from dusty Bhavnagar, and a severe blight among the cotton fields in the 1930s left my starving 17-year-old grandfather no choice but to migrate to Bombay, that bustling metropolis where little people have long gone to make their mark. My life in the kitchen, in short, starts way back with my grandfather's great hunger. And that 3-day ride atop the train, baking in the fierce sun, clinging for dear life as the hot iron chugged across the plains of India, was the unpromising start of my family's journey. Grandfather never liked to talk about those early days in Bombay, but I know from Ami, my grandmother, that he slept rough in the streets for many years, earning his living delivering tiffin boxes to the Indian clerks running the back rooms of the British Empire. To understand the Bombay from where I come, you must go to Victoria Terminus at rush hour. It is the very essence of Indian life. Coaches are split between men and women, and commuters literally hang from the windows and doors as the trains ratchet down the rails into the Victoria and Churchgate stations. The trains are so crowded there isn't even room for the commuters' lunch boxes, which arrive in separate trains after rush hour. These tiffin boxes, over 2 million battered tin cans with a lid, smelling of dal and gingery cabbage and black pepper rice and sent on by loyal wives, are sorted, stacked into trundle carts, and delivered with utmost precision to each insurance clerk and bank teller throughout Bombay. That was what my grandfather did. He delivered lunch boxes. A dabbawala, nothing more, nothing less. Grandfather was quite a dour fellow. We called him Bapaji, and I remember him squatting on his haunches in the street near sunset during Ramadan, his face white with hunger and rage as he puffed on a bidi. I can still see the thin nose and iron-wire eyebrows, the soiled skull-cap and kurta, his white scraggly beard. Dour he was, but a good provider, too. By the age of 23, he was delivering nearly 1,000 tiffin boxes a day. 14 runners worked for him, their pumping legs wrapped in lungi, the poor Indian man's skirt, trundling the carts through the congested streets of Bombay as they offloaded tinned lunches at the Scottish Amicable and Eagle Star buildings. It was 1938, I believe, when he finally summoned Ami. The two had been married since they were 14, and she arrived with her cheap bangles on the train from Gujarat, a tiny peasant with oiled black skin. The train station filled with steam. The urchins made toilet on the tracks, and the water boys cried out, a current of tired passengers and porters flowing down the platform. In the back, 3rd class with her bundles, my Ami. Grandfather barked something at her, and they were off, the loyal village wife trailing several respectful steps behind her Bombay man. It was on the eve of World War II that my grandparents set up a clapboard house in the slums of the Nepean Sea Road. Bombay was the back room of the Allies' Asian war effort, and soon 1 million soldiers from around the world were passing through its gates. For many soldiers it was their last moments of peace before the torrid fighting of Burma and the Philippines, and the young men cavorted about Bombay's coastal roads, cigarettes hanging from their lips, ogling the prostitutes working Chowpatty Beach